crazy rollovers, terrifying wrecks, and even cars catching fire. Motorsports are no joke, and these are the 8 most insane, jaw-dropping crashes in history. What better way to kick things off than with F1?
There he locks up and he makes contact with his old rival!
I mean, most of you are here for that. Which crash do you think was the worst? To be honest, there are so many to choose from. Grosjean in 2020.
And a big fire there!
As they exited out of turn 3, and that looks very nasty indeed, and unsurprisingly, that is a red flag.
Spa 98.
Davey Coulthard into the wall will stop the race.
They'll have to red flag this.
Terrible. Look, this is quite appalling. This is the worst start for a Grand Prix that I have ever seen in the whole of my life.
Lauda in 76, Alonso in 2016, I could go on forever. But I think we can all agree that the craziest and most jaw-dropping of them all was Kubica's infamous crash. And yeah, I feel like I've been talking about it non-stop lately, but I mean, come on. It was just insane. Year 2007. Track Gilles Villeneuve, Montreal. One of the fastest on the calendar and always gives us some epic races. The 2007 race was no different, with the first of 4 safety cars coming out on lap 22 after Sutil's crash.
Close the pit lane. Oh, and that's why we've got Sutil having hit the wall hard at 4.
Kubica, who pitted early, was in P15, right behind Trulli's Toyota. Then the safety car came in on lap 26, and with all the cars bunched up and fresh tyres, it was Kubica's chance to make a move and pass as many drivers as he could. But later that lap, coming into the hairpin, with Kubica all over Trulli, disaster struck.
Oh, that's a big accident for Kubica.
Hit the wall at over 140 miles per hour. Then, after the brutal impact, a few rolls and slamming into the opposite wall, the car completely wrecked. Hands down, one of the scariest crashes I've ever seen. Ambulances flew in, and Kubica was rushed straight to the hospital, with everyone on edge. The race started up again soon after. As there wasn't much info about Robert's condition, they didn't show any footage of the crash at that point, which just made everything feel even more tense. It's moments like that when being a motorsport fan just doesn't feel enjoyable at all. A few hours later, the news dropped saying Kubica just had a sprained ankle. That's it. Crazy, right? After such a nasty crash, you'd expect, I don't know, at least a few fractures. Just a miracle. And even though I've watched that race with one eye open at least 1,000 times, I never noticed what Kubica does with his right hand after slamming into the second wall. Check out his fingers. It's like he's counting, or making sure he's still alive. Seriously gives you chills. Oh, and I forgot to mention earlier, but out of respect, I've left out any fatal crashes. And because I always get hate comments for blurring those out, YouTube demonetizes videos that show that kind of stuff. So let's just keep it cool with the rules and enjoy the video without bringing the vibe down with fatal crashes. And stick around until the end, because I've got a bonus crash for you. At the end of the day, we all know any tiny mistake in F1 can have a horrible outcome. But I won't lie to you, its American cousin IndyCar is no joke either. In fact, it's even crazier than F1. The reason? Oval tracks. These tracks are arguably the most dangerous. I mean, think about it. Those beasts flying through crazy high-speed corners, barely braking and zooming just inches from the walls. And each other. Yeah, looks like a recipe for disaster. But hey, Americans love their racing with a bit of unnecessary danger, don't they? It's a no-brainer that oval tracks usually end up with huge pile-ups and crashes that seriously give you goosebumps. After seeing all these, it's tough to pick just one, and the more accidents I see on oval tracks, the worse they get. Like the one with Robert Wickens that left him paraplegic in Pocono in 2018. That one seems impossible to top, and it's insane that he survived it. But what if I told you there's an accident that's just as crazy, or even worse, than that? Let's head back to 2003 at Texas Motor Speedway, the final race of the IndyCar season. With 13 laps left, Swedish driver Kenny Bracker's going head-to-head with South Africa's Thomas Scheckter for 3rd place, when out of nowhere, they make contact.
Right now, big crash!
No way. After spinning around the track like a Beyblade, the car's totally wrecked in the middle with the cockpit on its side. And Brack looking like he's out cold. There's no way anyone survives this. Brack gets pulled out the car and flown to the hospital, where they thankfully, and honestly I don't even know how, confirm he's alive. Though he's got multiple fractures all over. Broken sternum, femur, a vertebra, and his ankles. Considering how crazy the crash was, it's a miracle he made it. And I'm saying this because Brack's crash hit the highest G-forces ever recorded, peaking at 214 G. 214. No one's ever survived anything as brutal as that before. Just so you get the picture, the fatal zone usually happens at around 50 G. Brack's crash was over 4 times that. No clue how he survived. He talks about it like it's no big deal.
I really don't remember exactly how the accident happened.
After the crash, he spent 18 months getting back on his feet, then came back to race at the 2005 Indy 500.
Why are you back wheeling Indy cars?
Well, I think it's, this story, I think it's fate, basically. I wouldn't have been here unless this would have happened, and it's a great opportunity, obviously, to get back. And I like to write my own chapter in my own book. That's basically what it comes down to, and I'm very grateful for that team Ray Letterman gave me this opportunity.
But after that, he shifted focus to other races. I'm so freaking glad that safety has come such a long way, to the point where it can save drivers' lives in crashes as crazy as this one, and that it keeps getting better. You know what other sport really tests safety day in and day out? WRC. If oval tracks aren't my thing, it's not like I'm jealous of rally drivers either. I mean, driving a wild beast on roads you've never seen, surrounded by trees, bumps and cliffs, while someone yells at you about the next turn? Nah, I'll pass. But seriously, mad respect for those guys. And the reason I'm saying this is because of accidents like this one with Ort Tanak and Martin Javioja on stage 4 of the 2020 Monte Carlo Rally. It's basically everything risky about rallies in one go. Snow, a wet track colder than my heart if you don't subscribe. Trees everywhere, a huge drop if you mess up, or if you don't subscribe. So, being the absolute maniacs they are, Tanak was going full throttle while Javioja was yelling directions. That's when Tanak took a corner too wide, lost control of the car, and well, basically, fell off the edge. Basically my worst rally nightmare in one crash. Not only did they fall off the edge, but they were going so fast that the first hit didn't even stop the car, which ended up rolling and smashing into the trees. The car was totally wrecked, but somehow Tanak and Javioja walked away like it was no big deal, though they still took them to the hospital for a checkup. Gotta give props to the roll cage. It basically saved them from some serious injuries, or even worse. I think we can all agree that the worst thing in an accident is getting launched into the air and then slamming into the ground like a ragdoll. That's the kind of stuff nobody wants to watch. But if there's one place where we've seen some totally insane accidents, it's Le Mans. It's one of the fastest tracks in the world, and we've seen cars fly, and I mean literally.
Oh my God, the Mercedes has taken off. That's Peter Dunbrek at the wheel of the number 5 Mercedes.
Sometimes you watch these accidents and wonder if it's a crash or a launch. But what if a car goes flying after hitting the wall? Yeah, that's even scarier. And that's exactly what happened in 2011. Less than an hour into the race, Alan McNish was fighting for the lead in LMP1 class with Timo Bernhard. Suddenly, in Dunlop, Bernhard went a little too wide, so McNish took the chance to pass him on the inside. The result?
That's McNish!
I don't know what's scarier, seeing the car totally wrecked, or seeing all those people behind the barriers who, honestly, I have no idea how they didn't get hit by all that flying debris, and of course, the car itself. Look how close it got to flipping over the Armco. Those people just burned all their luck in one go. And McNish? No idea how he walked out on his own just minutes later. Kudos again to all the safety features that made it possible for him to walk away without a scratch. And seriously though, I hope since then they've done something so photographers and marshals behind the barriers aren't just sitting ducks for crazy accidents like that. Though honestly, I'd have no clue how they pull that off. Others that are totally exposed in crashes are MotoGP riders.
Big crash further back, Quattararo has been collected.
Yep, me talking about MotoGP. Honestly, Honestly, I've never really cared about bikes, but I guess they are motorsports. Plus, you can't deny they're flying around at crazy speeds with basically nothing but a suit and a helmet to protect them. It's wild how much they trust their gear and themselves to stay in one piece. Man, if you need a crazy example of that, just look at the 2020 crash in Austria. That was just insane. It was lap 9 of the race when Johann Zarco and Franco Morbidelli made contact heading into turn 3. The worst part? Both bikes ended up crossing the track right between Maverick Vinales and Valentino Rossi, missing them by just inches while still disintegrating. Fuck off. I think this might be the closest call I've ever seen. I just can't even imagine what would have happened if either bike had hit one of them at that speed. It's crazy that none of the riders got hurt, and wild to think that by inches, no tragedy went down. And back to four wheels. There was a crash as crazy as the ones I've shown you in the DTM back in 2010. It was the first lap at the Adria circuit with a wet track. As always, all cars were bunched up, going all out to move up the grid, with a bunch of them locking up or going off track. But it wasn't until the last corner that things went off the rails. Mike Rockenfeller dove to the inside, hit Paul di Resta, and both lost a ton of positions. But just when everyone was watching that's when things got seriously messy a bit ahead.
A huge accident! That's Primat! I'm sure that's Primat's car.
How the hell do you end up like that on a straight? With the car upside down and totally wrecked, and debris all over the track. They obviously threw the red flag, but thankfully Alexandre Primat, the driver involved, got out of his car quickly, looking pretty sore after that insane hit. Turns out, the Frenchman had tried to pass Ralf Schumacher on the outside in the last corner, but it didn't go so well. He lost ground to the driver behind, Mauro Enga, and had a little tap on the straight that sent him straight into the wall. Yep, in motorsports, it doesn't matter what the style or category is. Even the tiniest bump can lead to huge consequences. But what if I told you there's a race that mixes NASCAR-level crashes and fistfights, almost F1 top speeds, rally-style hills and bends, Le Mans-type wheel-to-wheel action, plus Aussie wildlife popping up on track and Oktoberfest-level drinking? Yes, I'm talking about the Bathurst 1000, which happens every year at the Mount Panorama circuit in Australia. It's a wild track with tons of speed, elevation changes, sketchy corners, and non-stop action, with the Bathurst 1000 being the big event. And as you can guess, the crashes that go down there are just as epic and chaotic. But the most insane one, definitely Fabien Coulthard's crash in 2000. It was the first lap of the race, and everyone was all packed together fighting for position. Coulthard, who started P21, was right in the middle of the pack, and had a small bump with Jason Bagwana.
That was Bargwana. Oh my goodness! One of the Bundaberg Red races has gone over.
Wow, what a massive rollover. I don't even know how many times he spun around. And as bad as the crash looks, Coulthard got out of the car almost like it was nothing. Seriously, again, big shout out to whoever invented roll cages, making crashes like this basically a free pass for the drivers. If you've made it this far, I've got a bonus crash for you. It's a Formula E crash. And yeah, I know, I can already hear the eye rolls. Formula E just, well, sucks. It's like go-karting with batteries racing through rat mazes. But hey, even these vacuums have their moments. Rare, but they happen. I've actually spent time, and put my poor eyes through it, watching and analysing the big crashes in Formula E. And even though it was a real struggle for my eyes and ears, I found one crash that actually deserves a spot in this video. It was the second round of the 2021 Diriyah E Prix, and Alex Lynn was battling Mitch Evans for P14 when they made contact before a heavy braking zone, sending Lynn, well, pretty much flying. Not gonna lie, that 2010 Weber cosplay has never looked so real. Nah, but seriously, Lynn didn't get hurt or anything, just felt a little dazed for a bit. Plus, his vacuum was completely totaled. After watching so many crashes, I kind of feel like I've had one myself. Think I missed any big ones? Wanna see a part 2? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching.